Hello, folks. You're watching Business Today, and this is Markets Today. I'm Sakshi Batra, and on this show, we discuss everything about stock markets, how the markets have opened on the last trading session of the week, and what kind of a trade can you expect going forward from here. Well, we did open on a lower note following weak global cues. Of course, the overnight cues from US markets, with all three Wall Street indices really dipping by 0.5% to a 1% almost. Asian markets following the global market cues as well, US market cues as well, and they also were trading lower in the initial trading action, and this in fact trickled in into the Indian markets too, and we did open about 100 points lower on the Nifty as well. But soon after, just minutes into the trade, the both the benchmark indices Sensex and the Nifty have pulled themselves into the green as well. So volatility has enhanced in the initial trading action itself. Let's first look at what the opening levels were, and then I could let you know exactly what's really weighing on the sentiments on the D Street right now, and what is the market really tracking as of now. Now, when you talk about the stock markets, particularly in today's trading session, you do see that the Sensex trading around 55,170 at open with 293 points of a loss right here. The Nifty was down by 86 points, or 0.5% lower at 16,500. It gave up the 16,500 mark as well in just a few seconds after opening of the trading session, but soon have pulled back as well, with some of the gains coming in some sectors like metals, autos. These are the sectors that are showing some bit of an advancing action in today's trading session. So you do have stocks like Coal India, Tata Steel, Hindalco, BPCL, and Britannia as among the major gainers of the Nifty right now. On the losing side, you have Tata Motors, HDFC, Maruti Suzuki, Eicher Motors, and HUL down in trade right now. So about 1,000 shares are seen advancing, whereas 838 shares decline. So it's a pretty much divided market at this point in time, with about 90 shares that remain unchanged in the initial trading action as well. Now, when we talk about the sectors, auto sector was down by 1%, metals was up by 1%, and BSE mid cap and small cap indices were trading almost flat in the opening tick as well. Now, when we talk about what have been the cues because of which global markets were also lower and the Indian markets were open lower as well. So the US markets closed lower because of US inflation reaching to a four-decade high yet again. So that is something that weighed on the sentiments, and therefore this exact sentiment was picked up by the Asian markets as well. Now, what's also happening is that the Chinese markets are really cracking at this point in time. And the cause of worry for them is some of the Chinese listed companies on the US stock exchanges that are under the lens right now and may get delisted. Some of the Chinese tech companies, even Yum China kind of brands, which operate KFC and Pizza Hut as well. So those brands are under the lens as of now. And that is the kind of impact that you're seeing on the Chinese markets, overall trickling in into the Indian markets as well. Now, Wall Street resumed its slide on Thursday, ending in the red as inflation hit a four-decade high, cementing expectations that US Federal Reserve would definitely hike the key interest rates at conclusion of the next week's monetary policy meeting to prevent the economy from overheating at this point in time. Remember that shares in the Asia Pacific also slipped early Friday morning, and tracking the losses on Wall Street as well. Remember that US inflation has peaked, and inflation is poised to accelerate even further in the months ahead. And this anticipation comes from the fact that Russia's war against Ukraine could drive up the cost because of the crude oil and other commodities as well. The war in Ukraine and massive sanctions against Russia have also triggered a contraction in global trade, sending food and energy prices sharply higher and forcing the IMF as well. This is another big trigger that the markets have been looking at in the early trading action, and therefore you are seeing some volatile moves in the early action. And the IMF managing director, Kristalina Georgieva, has said that they could actually lower global growth forecast next month as well. So, keeping the war situation in mind. So, they have also hinted at how Russia could be in for a major economic shock because of this war situation as well. As far as the commodity prices go, of course, there's been some cool off in the commodity prices, including crude oil prices, which are now trading around $108 a barrel or $105 a barrel. There has been further slippage from yesterday's $113 a barrel as well. It has been on a downtrend from last 2 days. Gold has been trading flat around $2,000 an ounce as well. And when we talk about the FIIs and the DIs momentum as well, the FIIs continued to sell even in yesterday's trading session. However, the aggressiveness has reduced. They sold about 1981 crore rupees of shares in the Indian markets yesterday, whereas 4818 crore rupees worth of shares were bought by the DIIs, as against the 4818 crore rupees of shares that were sold the previous day. DIS, however, bought about 945 crore rupees worth of shares in yesterday's trading session as well. Now, keeping that in mind, the impact on the Chinese companies, like I was pointing out, five Chinese companies listed in New York have been named by US regulators as the first of many 270 groups that could be delisted if they do not hand over detailed audit documents that back their financial statements. This is the kind of statement that has come about. And I told you, Yum China is also named as part of this group of five Chinese companies that face this kind of an overhang at this point in time. Let's also look at some of the stocks that will be in focus today. Britannia Industries is in focus. LSE has bought 1.2 lakh shares in the FMCG firm. MMTC is in focus. The firm executes share purchase pack to sell stake in NINL to Tata Steel arm. Oil stocks will be in focus because the crude oil prices are still lower at this point in time. But there is hope that there is fear that US inflation could actually have an impact on the commodity prices, and therefore you are seeing stocks of Reliance Industries, ONGC, IGL, Indian Oil, among all of these oil and gas specific stocks are in a lot of focus today. Metal stocks again will be in focus with the global commodity prices remaining elevated. The metal index could see a lot of volatility too. IT stocks have in the last few trading sessions emerged as the defensive pack where most of the investors have parked their money. Weak rupee has helped IT stocks as well. Infosys, HCL Tech, and Wipro. These are the stocks to watch out for. Tech Mahindra as well. So these stocks would be in focus as well and may likely to continue the trend of an upward move in today's trading session as well. Overall speaking, the global setup is still quite uncertain. A lot of things are supposed to be revealed on the Russia Ukraine front. Even now, we don't have any clarity on any positive outcome or any certain outcome of the talks that have happened between Ukraine and Russia. So that overhang remains. Now, we will, as move on to the weekend, there could be more and more headlines coming out, and therefore the markets may be discounting any of that and maybe feeling some kind of pressure at this point in time. But 3 days consecutively we've seen the market surge, keeping behind the worries of Ukraine Russia crisis. Whether or not that continues that today as well is something that we'll all have to wait and watch out for. I'll keep on bringing you all these updates from these streets, so don't forget to stay tuned on to Business Today. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and in case you found this video informative, do give a thumbs up as well. Thanks a lot for tuning in for now.